So, Ambassador, Equatorial Guineans went to the polls in an election, presidential election for that matter. Do you think the election was free, fair, credible, and that met international standards?
It was a recrowning. It was not an election.
Is there any credible opposition that could have challenged President Teodoro Obiang Bazogo during the election?
An open opposition has not been allowed to thrive. There are members who are not for Obiang, who have formed political parties, several, and one of them, the Convergence for Social Democracy, for example, is probably the best known and the longest lived. Severo Moto is a name that's well known. He's been involved in politics there for many years. But none of these other parties have been given the opportunity to compete.
You were there in Equatorial Guinea, both the capital Malabo and the commercial capital Bata. You met
Yes.
The president himself. How is it like? What was your take when you met him?
I was always able to see him. He was always personally observant of my office. I was always observant of his office. We treated one another cordially. Our families did the same. However, there was a complete falling off when it came to governance, because there is no governance except what he says.
Equatorial Guinea has made a lot of money through oil. Why is it that the people are still living in poverty? A country of less than 1 million people. A lot of people are living less than $2 a day in that country.
Certainly the oil companies helped burnish his image and said, we have a contract with a government. That government they know perfectly well, is Obiang. When they pass the money through, they know that it's not going to improve education, to improve health. It's going into his coffers. Mm-hmm. To their credit, some of the oil companies have had self-help programs, small programs, have done good work in malaria eradication, for example, on the island of Bioko. Mm-hmm. However, in larger terms, the government has simply taken the money away, and today the government as an entity, the people of Equatorial Guinea, are in debt. Mm. Meanwhile, there has been a daylight robbery, and the money that went into the country is no longer there. It was stolen.
Talking about the issue of his acceptance by the international community, some people have said, why hasn't the international community acted to help ease the tension in the country? But it appears the international community has embraced President Bazogo. What are your views?
We in the international community went up to the line of saying there is no rule of law here. And we kept that fiction that there should be a rule of law. There was a constitution. It had to be followed, that type of thing. It obviously didn't make any difference to him then, nor does it make any difference to him now.
As an observer, your views about the relationship between Malabo and Washington at the moment?
It's very difficult to have a meaningful relationship with a country that accepts none of the rules that you're dealing with. It's a very, very sad case. That's why the best single book of what happened during the Macias years, it was called Equatorial Guinea, An African Tragedy. It remains an African tragedy, sadly.